Okay, hi everybody. Happy Friday. I'm a little like ahead of the curve here with Happy New Year's announcements and backgrounds and green screens and the rest of it. Um, but I wanted to take the opportunity as we are kind of getting into the middle of December and close to the end of this year to spend tonight with you. Uh, let's see how it goes. Okay, I'm going to try a few different things here. Let's see how it goes. But uh, I wanted to spend a little bit of time. I would say it's like become a ritual. Not I would say, it has become a ritual for me every year for the last, sad to say, probably 30 years. And it started with a dear friend of mine, Jeanette, who's been a dear friend of mine for 30 plus years. And we would get together. When I first met Jeanette, she was in the middle of a divorce. She had two young children. And we would, at that time, we would spend New Year's Eve together. And we would, that was after some of the partying days of New Year's Eve. So we would sit down and we would have like quiet conversations and talk about, what the year had been and what was amazing about the year and what sucked about the year and what our vision was for the next year. And it was all very loose. And we would, oh, by the way, cheers. Okay. If you've got a little something, I've got a little pink champagne here myself. We would do it, with this, okay, make it like a festive conversation on New Year's Eve, but at the same time, for me, something meaningful and as the years went by, something really relevant in terms of the direction that my life has taken over all these years. So I wanted to spend tonight, um, whatever the time it's going to be, a little bit workshopy, which is weird because I'm going to be it's like a one-way conversation with me on Facebook Live. Pardon me. And if wherever situation you're in, at home, if you're driving, at work, whatever you're doing, I am going to ask for you. I put this out in the email. I would love for you to take some notes. If you've got a notebook and pen, if you want to write on your computer with your Word document, whatever you want, you can always, this is not like 50 questions, but you can always replay this and spend a little bit more time than I'll allot tonight because there's going to be a couple of moments to do some writing and thinking, but I can't just sit here forever without saying something because that would be like weird. So, but you could play it back and pause it and spend the time that you want when we reach those moments. So I want to share with you, I guess is really what it is, something that I do at the end of every year that is powerful for me and empowering for me and allows me to move forward into the new year with some level of freedom and optimism and engagement. And it's so interesting. I feel like the whole conversation of getting complete on the year, these last 2 years, is so relevant. It's so important. Given the industry and the business that we're in and the community that we're in and all the people that I talk to, I'm so aware of how much of a challenge the world is for people today. I'm so aware of it. I'm aware of it every day. I'm aware, and it's a challenge for us at Synergy. When we talk about sharing, and it's always been kind of one of the foundations of our conversation in the community is standing for others and being in contribution and sharing your heart and and whose life can you touch like with a little magic wand and open up a new thing for them. And there just doesn't seem to be the same bandwidth for anybody that we're used to and people are used to. And so it's challenging for everybody. So I think that doing work of completion is more important than ever right now. So tonight I wanted to spend this, or dedicate maybe is a better term, dedicate this session to a conversation of completing 2021 and creating 2022. And one of the great, okay, I turned off my notifications and they keep pinging. So clearly I didn't do it correctly. So apologies for that in advance. But so, we're going to do, I've got really kind of 3 or 4 different steps to this. And I'm going to ask for you, if you're able, to spend some time reflecting and answering whatever you would say to the 3 or 4 different questions that I'm going to ask you. And the intention, here's the intention. The questions aren't the important thing. I mean, they're more of like a stimulus. It's really, as we come to the end of this year, I would offer, invite, whatever words we want to use. Think about your own commitment. Let's leave 2021 behind. Okay, the good, the bad, the ugly, the amazing, the incredible, the breakthroughs, the bullshit, the whatever. Like, it's just a moment in time. It's artificial, really, right? But completion is a conversation where whatever the moment is, you draw a line in the sand, and then you say, okay, at this moment, I'm going to say that I'm complete. Including, you've heard me say this before, I'm complete being incomplete. People often ask that about relationships. You know, when stuff is really challenging in a relationship, you know, somebody's done something, you know, terrible stuff, which has happened. You know, I don't want to be, I don't want that person in my life. I don't want, how do I be complete in that situation? So sometimes, and it's something that one declares, okay? It's not like a fact like the table or the chair or my laptop or whatever. It's something that one declares. But we, all of us can declare being complete around the things that are incomplete in our lives, okay? We could be complete about it. I got it. I'm not going to fix it today. I'm not going to handle it today. It's not, oh, it's always going to be there, but I can be complete today with that, with my relationship with that. I'm like, I can do that. So sometimes that's what it takes. All right. So here's the first question that I want you to think about, okay? And I'm going to attempt to play music in the background because that's what we do. If I screw it up, forgive me, but I think it should work, but let's see. So here's the first question. I want you to think about and write down 3 things. You can obviously add to this, but what are 3 things that you've accomplished this year? So think about that for a second. What are 3 things? Of course, there are way more than 3, but what are 3 that really pop to mind, that enter your consciousness first? What are 3 things that you've accomplished this year around your family, around your friendships, around your health and well-being, around your finances, around your community, around your personal growth, around just surviving? That sounds like a bit dramatic, but, you know, still standing strong. You know, what are 3 things that you could say you've accomplished, okay? Now, normally if we were together, I'd probably give you like 3 or 4 minutes to sit down and think about that and write it. Just because of this scenario, let me just do, you know, kind of 30 seconds or a minute, and you can come back and replay this video and, you know, pause it and spend more time if you want to. So I'll just give you like 30 seconds or a minute to write down whatever you would say that comes to mind for you, 3 things that you've accomplished this year, okay? That works out.
My world, it moves so fast today. The past, it seems so far away. And life squeezes so tight that I can't breathe. And every time I've tried to be what someone else thought of me, so caught up, I was unable to achieve. But deep in my heart, the answer, it wasn't me.
All right, so let's just pause there, okay? You know, I'm afraid this will be a little bit clunky just because of, you know, we're not in person. As I said, if we were together, this would be a moment to share and to discuss among each other, to talk about your thoughts about that, to share what those items are for you. So I wanted to share my 3 things that first came to into my mind. And the first thing is, and because it's recent, I think that most of you watching are pretty, informed about the challenges that Angel and I have had, um, not raising our children, but with Charlotte in particular and her illness a number of years ago. And when she had cancer, when she turned 5, and it was 2 very intense years. And, she's now 13 and healthy and in remission. So amazing. But one of the things that happened was the treatment was intense, which it is. And the doctors told us that, uh, there will be lingering effects of the medication and the chemo and the drugs and the steroids and all of that stuff. And so we've had some challenges over these years with her schooling, um, and it's been a bit, it didn't turn the house upside down, but we've had our battles. So last week, we got a note from the principal of her school. She's in grade 7. And it was one of the people on the honor roll for, this stage in her grade 7 journey. And it was, and he wrote, congratulations on all the hard work, and he underlined it, which is like so special, right? So special. So for me, that was a big deal this year. Who knows what's next, whatever, but that was a big deal this year. She's working hard, she's feeling successful, and life is working great for her. So that's one thing for me this year. Another thing for me this year is also very personal, which is this year was the 2 years, and I didn't really think about it, but the doctor reminded me. Again, as most of you know, I had cancer for the first time, I guess at this point, like 11 years ago or so. And then it kind of returned. And so 2 years ago, I went through radiation and hormone therapy and all of that stuff. And the doctor, when I had my last appointment, I go every 3 months because that's what I have to do forever, and that's fine. He said, you reached the 2-year milestone from that. And he goes, that's a big deal because I remember when I first had cancer like 11 years ago, they said, if you make it 5 years, you're not guaranteed, which is obviously true, but you're pretty good. After the treatment that I had a couple of years ago, when he said, it's now 2 years, you're pretty good. So are there guarantees? Of course not, but I feel really good. So that's like another major accomplishment for this year. Okay. And then a third accomplishment is around synergy. And, it's been challenging, I'll be honest. I think that, everybody listening, there's a level in our community where there's like, some disengagement. People are not as excited. People are not as engaged. We don't have hands-on. It's not as intimate in the sense of like hugging and all that stuff. So we're still here, and we've had in the end a amazingly successful year, thanks to you, an amazingly successful Synergy education year, and the last 6 months ramping up an amazingly successful Synergy business year, and rounding the corner into a new year of incredible, opportunities and possibilities. And, I'm obviously very passionate about keeping our work alive. So whatever that looks like, however that twists and turns, I'm cool. But I'm like very committed to keeping our work alive. And with Synergy Education, I'm excited about February's workshop with graduates to be together in person. Barring some, craziness, because we live in a crazy world right now, but, all things being equal, I'm so excited to be together with you in February. So I hope you don't mind. I wanted to share 3 things and millions of others, but those are the first 3 things that popped into my mind. Okay. Here's the second question that I have for you, which is, I want you to now write down 3 breakdowns that have happened this year for you. What are 3 areas that are disappointments, ongoing frustrations, places where you've given up, potentially like betrayals or not frustrations, failures? Like what are the 3 shittiest, stupidest, most annoying, aggravating, crappiest parts of 2021 for you, right? Like, don't pretend. Like, what are like the most bullshit times of this year for you? And so I'll give you again, just like a moment to write down the things that come to mind for you of like the three stupidest things that come to mind for you about this year. Okay, and I'll give you a little bit of time to write your thoughts down around that.
You walked with me, footprints in the sand, and helped me understand where I'm going. You walked with me when I was all alone, with so much unknown along the way. And then I heard you say,
Let's just bring that to a close. And again, you know, I hope you don't mind, I'm doing it this way, but I just want to make sure that I, can keep being in the conversation with you, and you can always revisit these and spend a little bit more time later, okay, to record your thoughts. For me, again, I think that the first thing, again, that came to mind for me about the challenge of this year is around my work, is around Synergy and around the stuff that we've been creating and building. And it's been challenging, I'll be honest. And there's a few reasons that it's challenging. And one of the things that I've discovered, it's not just challenging for us at Synergy. Anybody that's in our universe, anybody in the world that's doing in the same kind of ballpark that we're doing, has had a hard time during COVID. There's such a tactile component to what we do. I was going to say, I know we've done an amazing job at being able to translate and transfer the material and the distinctions and the conversations online, but I know that not everybody has. So there are companies that have, like ours, or kind of in the same ballpark again, that haven't fared well during this time, have shut down or letting, downsizing, etc. So I would say around Synergy has been challenging for me this year. That's the first thing that comes to mind. The second thing is, I didn't share this probably with many of you, but earlier this year, my sister passed. And she was a very close person in my life, obviously my whole life. She was older than I am. She had Parkinson's disease for a number of years, and she lived in Canada, and it was upsetting, which I get upset. I couldn't go there when she was ill because of COVID. So I never saw her in the last, year or so, or 18 months. So she passed. That was a breakdown and upset in my life, because she was somebody that I could go to, not in the Synergy community. I mean, she did the basics. She came to New York. I made her. I put her arm behind her back and made her come to New York and do the basic. But she was a little bit kind of out of my sphere of world. So I could always go to her and talk about, the bullshit in my life, talk to her about, it was challenging or hard in my life. So that was something this year that happened, which wasn't great. And then, okay, this is like really dumb. I don't know. I wrote this down, this afternoon about what do I want to share? I put on weight. I know this is so like whatever. I put on weight when I had the radiation and the hormone therapy, and I can't shake the 20 pounds that I put on. And I, of course, Angel now has like these photos that pop up on the computer, when the TV goes off for a few minutes. I used to be like really some whatever, and now I'm so aware. When every mirror I pass, I see the 20 pounds. So that's, I would say, also a breakdown, okay, in my life this year is it's not the inability, it's probably the lack of commitment, to be honest, to do what it takes to shift that. Okay, so those are my three breakdowns that I just wanted to share. All right, so now here's the third. Can we move on now? Let's move to the third question. Okay, can we look towards something positive? What are three things that you are grateful for from this year? What are three things that you are thankful for around your family, around your friendships, your career, your finances, your health, your community, your personal growth. What are three things that you would say that you are thankful for and grateful for from this year of 2021? So I'll give you 30 seconds to go ahead and just think about and begin to think about how you would respond to that.
And sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandmother's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the spirit of God. We are mother.
Thank you, bring that. Okay, that's like such a something song, but I have to say I have such a sentimental connection to that song. As long as I've been doing, not as long, but for so many years of doing trainings, that song has been in the background at residential weekends, and it's like such a special song for me. So, all right, again, you can revisit this later. I want to say very quickly, I won't belabor it. So I'm very grateful for my family being healthy. Clearly that's an issue. Being healthy, being solid and strong and successful in our lives and at school. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful for our Synergy community. I think that the last couple of years have proven to be very challenging. Somebody said to me, in the absence of being together, people have kind of gone off and found something else to participate in. People have gone and done something else or a different direction. Everybody that did the trainings for the 10 years before or 9 years before COVID hit, I miss being in person, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a component of, the community that we have at Synergy that I am deeply grateful for. In fact, I have to say, I want to say this. We got a call on the office phone a week ago from somebody, and she goes, "Hi, this is Joy George, and I'm calling for Peter Griffiths. And Peter Griffiths, I'm calling from Cape Town, South Africa." And she's like one of my dearest people in my whole life. And at the last 3 months that Robin and I were in Cape Town, I lived in Joy's house. She's a special, wonderful woman who was an angel in my life. And she reached out like a week ago. She reached out. She said, "I've been trying to find you for fucking years. And I finally found you." And I also had been trying to find her. But it reminded me of how things like Synergy and all of you that I have met and connected with and been open and vulnerable with, and you with me, and you open and you being risking and all of those things, those are like the special to me. Now I'm like, a little on in life, 58, soon to be 59. Those are the things that matter in life. And so I'm very grateful for the Synergy community and for all of you. And then the third thing that I wanted to, this is personal too, but just for me, my own resilience and my own optimism. My sister that passed, one of the things that she said to me a year ago, she goes, "You're one of the most optimistic people that I know," which was funny. It's not like we talk like that with each other. It was a funny thing for her to say, but obviously it stuck. So I'm grateful for my own fortitude and resonance and optimism for what, life can be and what I'm creating. And, I wake up each day and Angel and Monica and Yali and Fran and Nydia and Carla and Albert and on and on and on. All the folks that are in our community that are out there making shit happen. We get up tomorrow and okay, what are we creating? So I'm grateful for that energy and because I know that that's not to be taken for granted, because sometimes I've not had that. So I'm very grateful for that. Okay. So let me give you, I want to talk about the last part of tonight's discussion at 6:25. So here's the last part of tonight's discussion. I want to talk about being complete for a minute. I'm going to go over a little bit after 6:30, so I just realized that. I want to talk about being complete in life. Being complete allows freedom. Being complete allows peace of mind. Being complete brings power. Being complete brings wisdom, the wisdom around the complexity of life and how to move forward. Being complete is a declaration. There's no such thing as complete. Okay, point to complete. Doesn't no, it's a framework that one declares. So I want you to pause for 2 seconds, and I want you to ask yourself, are you willing? And you may need to go back over this conversation because I didn't give you enough time to answer the questions that I asked earlier. But once you've had the chance to answer those questions to your satisfaction, are you willing to declare that you are complete with the year 2021? And you've also got, a couple more weeks if you want to take them. I'm going to do some version of this again on New Year's Eve. But are you willing to declare that you're complete with this year? But one can only do that if you've visited the questions that I've asked. So it's probably not enough time to do it all justice, but this is, another part that has all the other things have led up to this moment. So are you complete? If not, what do you need to say? What do you need to let go? What do you need to talk about around this year? What do you need to say so that you can say, you know what, God damn it, I'm complete freely. Okay. So, and then the last part of our conversation is around next year. So let's start by saying, whenever you get to it, congratulations. We're complete with 2021. Okay. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Cheers. Let me drink. Okay. Congratulations being complete with 2021. Now let's look powerfully to next year. Let's look powerfully to 2022. Okay. I want to share this with you. Here's another thing that I want to give me 2 seconds to just share my screen with you so you can see it. All right. I want to share declarations for 2022. Go ahead and write these down if you want to. If you want to email me, I'll send you this. We always, when we were in person, we would make kind of cards and we would give people, a very cardboard, hard kind of card with these on it. And people would spend a little time and they would write down their thoughts. So when you think about 2022, what declarations do you want to make? Where do you want to set your sights for next year? What's special and important to you that you want to put a little kind of laser energy towards? So start with your family, spouse, partner, children, parents, siblings. Start with your family. What are 3 declarations that you're interested in making for the next year? So when we gather again, this time next year or thereabouts at the end of 2022, and we're now looking back over the year that's been, what do you want to say happened? What do you want to say got created? What do you want to say, was impacted? So the first area of declarations is around your family, spouse, partner, parents, children, siblings, etc. Okay. Then friends. What are 3 declarations that you want to make around your friends? By the way, I don't know the most efficient way to share this with you. I don't know the most efficient way to share it. If you want me to, as I said, if you want me to email it to you, please, I'm happy, no sweat. Just email me and I'll send it to you. Okay, I don't know how else to do it easily. So around your friends, what are 3 declarations that you're willing to make? Around, okay, Synergy Education. And I guess, it's a bit odd to stick that in there, but I think the intention when I first put that in there was around the community of Synergy Education, not Synergy Education as like an entity, around the community. What are 3 declarations that you want to make around people you've known, people you know, people you want to know, people in your life, what are 3 declarations that you want to make in that area of your life, which is essentially community? Then health and body. How about health and body and fitness? What are 3 commitments that you want to make in that area? This is for the whole next year. Okay. These are kind of high level declarations. Then around your ways of being, what are 3 ways of being that you're interested in tackling? Maybe the wrong word, incorporating, nurturing, expanding, growing. What are 3 ways of being that you are interested in? So this time next year, when we look back, you can go, you know what? I have been really fucking peaceful or whatever it is. I've been really compassionate. I have been really courageous. Like, what are the ways of being? And then community. So for each of us, that could mean something different. For me, community means synergy education. So it's a little bit of overlap from the other one, but whatever, if there's a distinction for you. And then the world. And, one of the things that I'm very aware of also is it's hard to think about the world in the sense of like, what am I committed to? I just want to survive. I want to get through this time. Okay. I'm like, my bandwidth is like, I can't think about the world. So you have to decide if there are any declarations or commitments that make sense to you in that area of your life. So I want to just give you a few minutes, or not a few minutes, another like 30 seconds or 60 seconds, just to think about again, any thoughts. And I'll just kind of move this up and down a little bit. I hope it's not too annoying. So that you have 2 seconds to think about whatever you would say that you would, make sense to you in some of these declarations. Okay. So let me put a little bit of music for 2 seconds while you think about that.
This is the time
All right, so let me just stop that there, okay, because of the time, so we don't go too far into that. And we'll just come back together as a group. And there's one last thing that I'm going to ask of you as we complete this year and we look to next year and we create next year is, I don't know if this is going to work again or not, but in the comments on Facebook, if you are willing to write or to share an acknowledgement of someone inside of the Synergy community that has had an impact in your life. It could be somebody that was in your LP. It could be your LP buddy. It could be your LP coordinator. It could be someone that you did the advanced course with. It could be somebody in your small group when you were in the basic or level 1. It could be somebody that you shared a very special moment with in the journey of mastery that has meant, everything to you. It could be in the 5th part, living your legacy, someone in your legacy group. If you would be willing, just take another minute just to write down in that comments or acknowledgement section, just shout out somebody, do a shout out to somebody. Who are you sending some love to? Who are you sprinkling some positive energy toward? Who are you appreciating? Who are you grateful for inside of the Synergy community that has made a difference in your life? And maybe you said it, maybe you haven't, maybe it's worth saying again. So if I can, for the last part, just ask you to take another minute or so and just write down in that comment section, anybody that you feel that you would like to acknowledge or appreciate. Okay, so I'll just do like a minute or so to do that.
ever felt completely free. No one's ever had all of me. Make me feel so beautiful and sexy. Now I'm flying like an airplane. Now I'm riding on an open range. Now I'm living out my destiny. I know the truth, I got it all in you and me. Love, giving myself over to you. Body and soul, I'm giving it over. I'm giving myself over to you now. Like a brand new day. Now you and I with a face to face.
Jennifer Hudson. Okay, I feel like I could spend like an hour in that conversation with all the people that I would want to, appreciate and acknowledge. But again, this is the way Facebook works, it's gonna be up there. So feel free to add comments and quotes and appreciation, acknowledgement for people that have touched you and with a lasting touch. Like when my friend Joy reached out to me, it's been almost 30 years, 27 years. And she said to me, you brought such a peacefulness to my life 27 years ago. And that has meant everything to me over these last many years. And it was sad for me to hear because when I was there with her, there was her mom and her sisters and her brother, and all those people have passed. And she's had her struggles with illness and child, of course, you get older. So, but she was thanking me for the peace that brought into her life, those years ago. So who's done that for you? And who do you want to take a moment just to appreciate and acknowledge? So let's just use the format and the environment of this to be able to do that with each other. Okay, I wish we were able to spend more time. And I wish that, or not I wish, I hope that you can revisit this conversation. For me, I mean, you don't have to, obviously. For me, this is not a big deal. It's not deep. I'm not throwing myself on the floor in hysterics, but it's always a nice thing, a nice way for me to complete the year and look to the new year at what I'm looking to create. And at the same time, to acknowledge and appreciate the things that are great in my life, the things that are amazing in my life, the things like shut up and stop complaining about, who are you kidding? Shut up already. Like that stuff, like what's amazing, like acknowledge it. And then also, because none of us does this alone, who are the people that have been your champions? And who are the people that have empowered you and stood for you and been partners with you and listened to you and put up with you and all the other stuff. So let's acknowledge that too, because that's also important. Okay. February 12th and 13th is the in-person workshop. For those of you who are listening tonight that have participated at Synergy virtually, so getting close to 2 years now, if you can join us in New York, I can't tell you how much that would mean for us and for you. There are things that we're going to do together in person, barring, if the world goes nuts again, obviously I'll let you know. And I have no intention of spending that weekend virtually, meaning the material and the conversations and the work we're going to do together is a hands-on work. So there's stuff on Saturday night in the advanced course, which everybody remembers. Everybody who's done Saturday night of the advanced course did that virtually. We're going to do that in person. Okay. We're going to spend those powerful, life forever changing experiences together in person, and many, many, many other things. So if you can join us in person in New York, plan, fly here, whatever, you've got time, come and join us in person February 12th and 13th. It will be powerful and amazing and moving. I'm committed to that. And I'm committed to it being like an unbelievable chance to like celebrate being back together again. If you've got any questions, let me know. And that's really all I just wanted to share tonight with you. I wish you and your family the most amazing end of the year, however you celebrate it. Happy New Year as we move into 2022. I recommend doing the work to get complete and free and peaceful and grateful and shout at the moon and all the stuff, so you can let this year go and acknowledge all the things that were great. And then let's move into the next year and like rock and roll and make amazing shit happen in your life. So thanks for listening and thanks for being in the conversation. I love you on behalf of Angel and Monica and everybody else that are our leaders at Synergy. We send you peace and love and happiness and joy and gratitude. I could keep going. Okay. And thanks for watching and being part of tonight. And I love you and have a great holiday. And the next time that we'll be together, it's funny, the calendar is against me here. So the next 2 weeks from now is Christmas Eve. I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. So I've got my children, I've got Angel, and we'll be here in our house on Christmas Eve. I'm going to see if I can get them in the video with me, see if they can join me. So that remains to be seen. Okay. How much blackmail is required, but I'll do my best. So we'll get together 2 weeks from now on Christmas Eve. And of course, you can watch that later on if you're in the midst of your family stuff. So sending you love. Okay. Take care, everybody, and stay healthy and stay safe, and sending lots of love, and see you soon. Okay. Bye.